going to be talking about the water cycle. And the definition of the water cycle is the continuous process by which water moves from Earth's surface to the atmosphere and back. And it's continuous because it happens all the time. Some of these happen all at the same time. It's not one thing that leads to another in a certain order, but all these happen at the same time sometimes. The water cycle is made up of multiple different processes, as you see here. And some of these processes involve a change of state in the water. So water can move from its liquid state to its gaseous state, or from its gaseous state to its liquid state, or any of the above. So first we have evaporation, where liquid, so water in its liquid state, turns into water vapor. We also have condensation, where water in its gaseous form, water vapor, turns into a liquid. Next we have precipitation, where water falls from the cloud to the ground. And this can be water in its liquid form, in the form of rain, or in a more solid form, in the form of hail or snow. Because water in the cloud can be either in the form of tiny water droplets or small ice crystals. We also have transpiration, where water is evaporated through plant leaves. So plants only use a little bit of the water that's absorbed through their roots. The rest of the water that isn't used is evaporated through their leaves, and this process is called transpiration. We also have runoff, which is excess water that cannot be absorbed. So the ground cannot hold any more water, so the water has to move to another place where it can be absorbed or stored. Next we have collection, where precipitation builds up in an area. So this is also related to runoff. So runoff can end up in an area of water collection. This is a diagram of some of the examples of how these processes can occur in our environment every day, things that we sometimes don't even think about. So we have our environment right here, and we see that it can start at any one of these different processes. They all occur simultaneously at the same time. So here we have trees that are transpiring their water into the atmosphere. These trees are only using some of the water that's absorbed through their roots, and the rest is being transpired through their leaves and eventually evaporated into the atmosphere. We also have evaporation from this body of water that's right here. So some of this body of water is evaporating into the air in the form of water vapor, and this evaporation and transpiration both contribute to condensation. Condensation is where the water vapor that reaches the air reaches its dew point temperature, which means that no more water vapor can be held in the air. This causes the water vapor to condense and form tiny water droplets that make up these clouds. This cloud is causing precipitation on the top of the mountain. Precipitation is when water in any of the forms is falling from a cloud. It's important to remember that clouds do not always produce precipitation, but precipitation has to have a cloud to occur. So clouds are necessary, but not sufficient for precipitation. After we see this precipitation on the mountain, where it's snow-capped, as we can see, there's a snowmelt runoff that's occurring. So at the top of the mountain, no more snow or no more water can be absorbed by the land. So this is causing the snow to run down the side of the mountain in runoff. Here we have an area of surface runoff that could be connected to the snowmelt runoff as well. This is where water in this area cannot be absorbed into the ground, so it's running down and eventually meets up into this body of water. This is an example of collection, where water, precipitation as well as runoff are collected and stored in one area. The biggest example of collection in our environment is the oceans. The oceans are the largest collectors of water that we have in our environment.